So in this countdown, we're digging into the 7 worst grocery store meats, the ones that consistently let you down and showing how the butcher shop beats them every time. Some of your weekly staples might make the list, so let's dive in. Walk down any grocery store meat aisle, and it looks like paradise. Rows of chicken, beef, pork, and bacon neatly wrapped in plastic, ready to cook. But if you've ever actually brought some of that meat home, you know the truth. Appearances can be deceiving. Too often, what looks like a bargain turns into frustration. Chicken breasts that shrink into watery rubber, ground beef that leaves a puddle of grease, pork chops so thin they cook into leather. Add to that bacon that's mostly fat, or deli turkey that tastes more like preservatives than poultry, and you start to see a pattern. The issue is simple. Grocery store meat is built for shelf life and presentation, not flavor or quality. Butcher shops, on the other hand, are built on freshness, care, and cuts that actually taste like the food you're craving. The difference? Night and day. Ground beef should be one of the most reliable ingredients in the kitchen. Burgers, tacos, chili. It's the foundation of comfort food. But when you buy the shrink-wrapped bricks from the grocery store, you're almost guaranteed disappointment. The first problem is the mystery blend. The 80-20 or 90-10 label tells you the fat ratio, but not what cuts are inside. At a butcher, you can order ground chuck or brisket. At the supermarket, it's a mashup of trimmings from multiple plants. That's why the texture feels mushy and the flavor flat. One shopper said cooking with it felt like frying pink glue. Then there's the color trick. The bright red surface looks fresh, but the gray inside tells the real story. Many packages are treated with gas to keep them looking appealing, even if the meat isn't top quality. And when you cook it, the grease floods the pan. The meat shrinks dramatically, and burgers fall apart instead of holding shape. You started with a pound, but end up with half. Butcher ground beef is different. It's fresh, coarser, and made from whole cuts. The result is burgers that are juicy, meatballs that hold together, and tacos that actually taste like beef. One dad said, "I thought my kids hated burgers. Turns out they just hated grocery store beef." That's why prepackaged ground beef kicks off our list at number 7. On paper, chicken breast should be the healthiest, safest choice. But grab a pack from the grocery store, and you'll often end up with one of the most disappointing cuts of meat out there. The first issue is size. These chicken breasts are so unnaturally large, they look more like science projects than food. That's because factory farm chickens are bred to grow faster and bigger than ever. The result? Breasts that cook up rubbery, stringy, and tough. One shopper joked, "I bought a chicken breast the size of my forearm, and it tasted like it too." Then comes the water problem. Many of these chickens are injected with saline solution to increase weight and shelf life. When you put them in the pan, they shrink dramatically, leaving behind a puddle of watery liquid. Essentially, you're paying for water, not meat. Flavor? Practically non-existent. Grocery chicken often tastes bland, with some pieces even showing woody breast syndrome, thick white stripes caused by rapid growth. It's so common, people think chicken is supposed to taste that way. Now, compare that to a butcher shop. Their chicken is usually smaller, firmer, and actually tastes like poultry. Many butchers source from slower-grown, local farms where the birds aren't pumped full of water. The difference is night and day, juicy, tender, and flavorful. That's why factory farm chicken breasts earn a spot at number 6. Pork chops should be a dinner-time classic. Juicy, flavorful, the kind of meal that feels like home. But the grocery store version, 9 times out of 10, it's a letdown. The first issue is thickness. Most supermarket pork chops are cut paper thin, barely half an inch. That might look convenient, but it's a disaster in the pan. They cook unevenly, going from raw to bone dry in minutes. One shopper summed it up perfectly. Supermarket chops go from juicy to hockey puck in 30 seconds. Then there's the quality. Grocery store pork often looks pale and almost gray instead of the healthy pink you want. Worse, many chops are enhanced, meaning injected with a saltwater solution to boost weight. You think you're buying a pound of pork, but a chunk of that is just brine. Cook it, and half disappears into the pan. Flavor-wise, they're usually bland. People rely on heavy sauces or gravy just to make them edible. But a proper pork chop doesn't need a disguise. At the butcher, chops are thick, bone-in and often from heritage breeds like Duroc or Berkshire. These cuts have marbling and a natural sweetness that actually makes pork exciting again. You can even request custom thickness, something a grocery pack will never offer. That's why grocery store pork chops take the number 5 spot. Thin, watery, and flavorless compared to their butcher shop rivals. Turkey sandwiches should feel clean, simple, and satisfying. But when the turkey comes from a plastic-sealed grocery store pack, it's usually anything but. First problem, texture. The slices are flimsy, wet, and stick together in slimy clumps. Pulling them apart feels more like separating damp paper towels than preparing lunch. That alone is enough to kill the appetite. Then there's the flavor, or lack of it. Instead of tasting like roasted turkey, it tastes like salty brine and preservatives. Some brands even leave a faint metallic aftertaste. That's because these slices aren't carved from a fresh bird. They're heavily processed, pressed, and enhanced with fillers to keep them shelf-stable for weeks. Check the ingredient list, and it reads more like a science experiment. Sodium phosphate, modified food starch, carrageenan and natural flavors. Real turkey should only need seasoning, not a chemical glossary. Now compare that to butcher sliced turkey. At a good shop, it comes from whole roasted or smoked turkeys, sliced fresh and thick. The texture is firm but tender, not slimy. The taste is rich and meaty, with hints of seasoning or smoke depending on how it was cooked. One customer put it simply, "I thought turkey was boring until I tried it from the butcher." That's why pre-sliced deli turkey earns the number 4 spot. Few things are more disappointing than sitting down to a steak you've been looking forward to, only to discover it tastes like rubber. Sadly, that's the story with most grocery store steaks, especially sirloin. The issue starts with the cut and quality. Grocery sirloins are usually thin, machine cut, and under-marbled. Marbling the white streaks of fat is what makes steak juicy and flavorful. Without it, you're chewing on a dry piece of beef that tastes flat. Add to that the fact that most supermarket steaks aren't aged at all, and you end up with meat that hasn't had time to tenderize or develop flavor. Cooking only makes the problem worse. Instead of sizzling and forming a crust, these steaks often release excess water, steaming in the pan. The result? A gray, chewy piece of beef that tastes nothing like the steakhouse experience you were hoping for. One home cook said, "I thought I ruined it. Then I realized it was just bad meat." At a butcher, it's a different world. Their steaks are hand-cut, often aged and sourced from higher quality cattle. You can choose ribeye, strip, hanger, or even dry-aged cuts you'll never see in a grocery aisle. They sear beautifully, stay juicy, and deliver that rich, beefy flavor every steak lover dreams of. That's why grocery store steaks, especially sirloin, land at number 3. The promise of a steak dinner delivered as a chewy disappointment. Bacon has a reputation as the ultimate crowd pleaser. The smell, the sizzle, the crunch, it's supposed to be foolproof, but grocery store packaged bacon, that's where the dream dies. The first issue is thickness, or the lack of it. In the pack, the slices look decent, layered neatly under plastic. But once you peel it open, most strips are paper thin and mostly fat. Toss them in the pan, and half the pack melts into a puddle of grease. One shopper summed it up. "I paid for a pound of bacon and got a handful of bacon-flavored oil." Then there's the flavor. Instead of being smoked over real wood, most supermarket bacon is treated with liquid smoke extract. The result is a one-note, salty, artificial taste. It satisfies in the moment, but lacks the depth and richness of the real deal. Cooking is another disappointment. Grocery bacon curls, cooks unevenly, and sticks together in flimsy clumps. Compare that to butcher bacon. Thick-cut, meaty slices that stay flat, crisp evenly, and actually deliver substance with every bite. And let's not forget the smell. Grocery bacon smells like breakfast. Butcher bacon, it fills your kitchen with the aroma of real smoke and savory meat. That's why packaged grocery bacon takes the number 2 spot. It promises crispy joy, but delivers salty shrinkage. Number 1, we've got the worst offender in the entire grocery meat aisle, pre-seasoned value packs. You've seen them: chicken glowing neon orange, pork chops drowned in sticky teriyaki glaze, beef tips smothered in a suspicious red sauce. They look convenient, but these packs are more cover-up than cooking shortcut. The truth is, stores use marinades to disguise low-quality meat. Cuts that are uneven, dry, or close to their sell-by date get tossed into sugary sauces, slapped with a new label, and marketed as ready to cook. A former grocery employee admitted, "If meat didn't sell, we marinated it. Customers thought it was gourmet." The marinades themselves are another problem. Instead of garlic, herbs, or citrus, you'll find corn syrup, dyes, and preservatives. That's why the meat glows with unnatural colors. Cooking only makes it worse. The outside burns while the inside stays bland because the flavor never penetrates. It just sits on the surface. At a butcher, it's a completely different story. Their pre-marinated options use real ingredients and fresh cuts. The flavors complement the meat instead of hiding it. Think lemon herb chicken that actually tastes like poultry, or beef tips marinated in red wine and garlic that cook evenly and stay tender. That's why pre-seasoned grocery packs take the top spot. They don't enhance meat, they disguise it. And when it comes to dinner, no one wants a cover-up. And there it is, the 7 worst grocery store meats, from flimsy bacon to neon orange value packs. The message is clear: when meat is designed for mass production, shelf life, and low cost, flavor is the first thing to disappear. But the good news? You don't have to settle. Butcher shops are proving every day that chicken can be juicy, ground beef can be rich, and bacon can actually taste like meat instead of salt. Even pre-marinated cuts can shine when they're made with care and real ingredients. Sure, the sticker price at a butcher might look a little higher at times, but when you factor in shrinkage, water weight, and disappointment, the value is often better than the grocery store. And beyond price, there's the eating experience. Meals that taste fresh, satisfying, and worth every bite. So the next time you're walking past those glossy supermarket trays, remember this list. Skip the shrink-wrapped shortcuts and support the butcher who actually knows the craft. Your dinner table and your taste buds will thank you.